My name is Maria Caruso, and today I'm here to present one of the greatest writers of all time, William Shakespeare, also called the Bard, the poet, the Bard of Avon. He was definitely the greatest writer of the English language. In fact, William Shakespeare helped shape the English language. He invented more than 2,000 words. And with his words and catchphrases, they are still used and translated today in many languages in the world. This year commemorates 400 years since Shakespeare's death. In fact, he died in 1616. And this special anniversary year is celebrated in all English-speaking countries and many other countries in the world. Does anyone know anything about Shakespeare? Anyone?
Yes.
Yes, Tasha?
Well, just that he wrote hundreds of plays and hundreds of poems that he's famous for. I don't know.
Okay. Yes, he wrote a lot. Not 100, but a little bit less than 100. But anyway, he wrote a lot. Well, there can be no doubt that once lived a man called William Shakespeare, and that he wrote a number of extraordinary plays, poems, and sonnets. About 38 he wrote plays. But we also know that he was admired and attacked by fellow scholars, playwrights, and historians. This could be because there were periods of his life that were unknown or questionable. For example, where was he born? And when was he born? Did he ever go to school? And the years between his baptism and the first time he appeared on a London stage, very little is known. And more importantly, when did he actually start writing? One thing we do know for sure is that William Shakespeare was baptized at the Holy Trinity Church on the 26th of April. In fact, there was a baptismal entry, Liliomus Filius Johannes Shakespeare. Now, at that time, most children were baptized or christened 2 or 3 days after they were born, because children died very commonly just after they were born. And so it is observed that William was born 3 days before he was baptized, on the 23rd of April, which is also St. George's Day in England. He was born during the Elizabethan period. In fact, Queen Elizabeth I was queen, and this is an important point in his life. William's family. Now, William, we don't know exactly where he was born, but it is thought that he was born in Henley Street. His father, John, and his mother, Mary, they got married in 1557. His father, the same year that they married, bought another property, and he also enlarged the house that they were living in. Mary inherited a lot of farmland. Even if they were prospering, the family, they were considered common people, working class. And they were probably illiterate, which means that they didn't know how to read or write. So it's exceptional to think how actually Shakespeare became the genius that he did, considering that his family were of a poor working class. In the Shakespeare family, there were about 9 children. William was the third born. He had other brothers and sisters. Some of them died. Only Joan and William had children. William was the only male son that actually had a boy and 2 girls. Most of the other brothers never got married or they died. The Shakespeare family continued to earn money, to prosper. His father became a trader in sheep with wool, and he also bought and sold houses. He also became an ale taster. So he was like a quality assurance for beer in the pubs. And then he became a politician. So William's father was becoming an important man at Stratford-upon-Avon. With all this information, we have recorded evidence of it. And so it was expected that if he was the son of an alderman, probably William went to school. But we have no evidence of the fact if William ever did go to school. But if he did, he would have gone between the ages of 6 and 7, and he would have gone to the King's New Grammar School, which is near his home at Stratford-upon-Avon. But we have no evidence. There's no records stating that William ever attended a school. In the school that historians think that he did go to, we only have evidence of the teachers, but not of the student William Shakespeare. So did he ever go to school? We don't know. If he did, he would have studied in the lower school, like the school in India, Latin and intensive grammar. And then in the upper school, he would have studied classical studies like Greek, rhetoric, logic. At that time, if William did have a passion for writing, he would have probably worked in a nobleman's house, because at the time, the only university studies were to become a priest, a doctor, or a lawyer. There wasn't a study to become a poet or a writer. So he would have probably worked in a nobleman's house as a secretary, writing letters, and then he would have also worked as a teacher in the house. But again, there is no information on this, no records. We don't know if it's true or not. So as I said, no one has any idea how the child Shakespeare developed into such a genius in his writing. So this is one of the things that many scholars have asked themselves, how is it possible? One thing we know is that William gets married. He marries Anne Hathaway, which is not the actress Anne Hathaway, but she's the real Anne Hathaway, and she was a very rich heiress. Her family owned a lot of properties. William was only 18, and Anne was 26. So she was considered old at the time, and she was even pregnant, so it was even a scandal at the time. And so many historians say that he was forced into marrying, and that she seduced him. And it continued that she was considered an aged, wanton, cunning shrew, because she was much older than him, and that the main character, Catherine, of The Taming of the Shrew, was based on his wife's ill-tempered character, because Anne was a Puritan. And, but in any case, William's father was happy for him to marry, because he was having financial problems at the time, and he was lucky to marry into a rich family. And so they married. And he has his first daughter, Susanna, and then he has twins, Hamlet and Judith. And we have recorded evidence of this, so all of this information is recorded in documents. Now, the relationship between Anne and Shakespeare, everybody has written about this relationship, because she was a Puritan, which means no singing and dancing, no enjoying life. They had a very simple life. They dressed also in a very simple way. They were church-going, serious people. So if William did have a dream to become a writer, which I doubt, but his first dream was to become an actor, because it is said that he actually, while he was in Stratford, he went to see a play that was performing in Stratford, and that's when he fell in love with acting. But not the play in itself, because he said it was a bit stupid, the play he went to see, but it was the atmosphere around the stage, around acting, that he loved. And that's when he decided to become an actor. Probably that was his dream, not to become a writer or a poet, but to become an actor. At the time, actors were considered wild, drunken men that only thought about drinking and having fun and not doing a serious job or anything serious. But in any case, the marriage did last. In fact, Anne Hathaway managed all of his money. She was the administrator of all of William Shakespeare's riches, and he also provided for the family all his life, and he even bought a grand house, which is called the New Place, that you can even go and visit now if you ever go to Stratford-upon-Avon. And he also bought a lot of farmland for the family. So even if he was in some way there were critics about his life and about his relationship with Anne, he did provide for his family all his life. Now, the period that are called the lost years, which were the years that historians have no information about at all. Biographers say that he was a teacher, a lawyer, that he went to live in London because he used to steal deers from the forests of the Queen. No one knows. He could have been all of these or none of them. What we do know for sure is that he went to London to become an actor. That's what we do know. And he left the family, he abandoned the family, and he went to London with a friend. And when he went to London, he actually started working in 3 different theatre companies. He started working for the Admiral's Men, the Queen's Men, and Lord Strange's Men. He was playing probably very small parts. It is said that he met his 2 friends, lifetime friends, Ben Jonson and Richard Burbage, which were 2 famous actors and also playwrights. And William, we don't know exactly when he started writing, but when in 1592 he started acting his plays, he started also producing his works. This is all we know for the moment. He was admired and attacked because he started to become famous, like a famous star, a famous actor. He was famous because he started producing plays. Ben Jonson wrote of him, he is not of an age, but of all time, because he probably understood that William Shakespeare's writing was different from any other playwright. But on the other hand, Richard Green, who was another playwright who attacked William, calling him an upstart crow beautified with our feathers. That means he wanted to be a playwright, but he wasn't. He also accused him of plagiarism, that he copied his plays. We don't know if this is true, but we do know that he was attacked formally on a newspaper in London at that time. So, but I don't think William in any case felt attacked by Green, because he was working as an actor and he was producing plays. That's what he wanted to do. Now, the London playhouses at the time were theatres similar to the one that you can see in the picture here. This is a typical Elizabethan playhouse. It was made of wood, and everyone went to the theatre. The rich, the poor, the young, the old, everybody, every single day went to the theatre. The poorer people used to sit or stand in the front. On the sides, the stalls, the noblemen, and at the back, all the area at the back was reserved for the Queen. So every single day, they went to the theatre. The plays were normally performed in early afternoon because of the daylight. This particular playhouse has a roof on the top, but some of them were open air. And so they only performed early afternoon. If they did have a roof on the top, they would perform also in the late afternoon by candlelight. But everyone went to the theatre, and so the need of having new plays was important, because the more plays they had to show, the more people went every day to their playhouse. So William was becoming popular, and he was also becoming rich. In fact, he moved from working in 3